called City Council meeting. We're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Actually, we'll do roll call first to make sure we have a quorum. Ward 2.
Here.
Ward 3.
Here.
Ward 4. Here. We do have a quorum for tonight. We're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you like to do it, Mr.
Sure.
Anderson?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We are now going to go to citizens to be heard. Speaker participation instructions provided in writing at the beginning of the agenda. We only have one card being read today. Mr. Judge Garza, would you like to come to the podium?
All right, Mayor Pro Tem, Council, good to see y'all. Good to see y'all in your new building here. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the city as they work through some very important discussions regarding our community's water's future. Water is one of the most critical issues we face, and I know these are not easy decisions. They involve complex information and a responsibility to both today's residents and future generations. While those conversations are ongoing, I want to be clear about one thing. I support the city taking the time to evaluate their options and make the best decision they can with the information in front of them. There's no single perfect solution to our water challenges. That means what matters is that we are moving forward with a focus on long-term sustainability. I also think it's important for the public to understand the roles and responsibilities. The county does not have any authority over water supply decisions. That responsibility rests with the city and the appropriate water providers. But if those pipes run dry, then it quickly becomes an emergency management issue, then it is my problem. And in that moment, the county will be there coordinating resources and doing everything we can to protect the health and safety of our residents. So while the city works through these decisions, my commitment is simple, and that is to support your process, respect your authority, and be ready to step in when needed. Because at the end of the day, it's not about one idea or one project, it's about ensuring we have reliable water in the future, and that's something all of us have a stake in. Thank you, Council.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to ceremonial matters and proclamations. We do have 7 tonight, so please bear with me. Number 1, we have a proclamation for April 11th through the 17th, 2026 as the week as the young child. Whereas children, cognitive, physical, social, emotional, and language development are built on a foundation of positive interactions with adults, peers, and their environment. And whereas the first years of a child's life are the period of a rapid brain development and lay the foundation for all future learning. And whereas high quality, early care, and education help build strong developmental foundations for young children during these critical years of brain development, leading to positive outcomes for individual children and better preparing them for school and future success. And whereas high quality early childhood education depends on dedicated early childhood educators who, with the support of families, provide the necessary early experiences for a strong foundation. Whereas the Children Coalition of Aransas County is working to improve early learning opportunities and provide a solid foundation for the children throughout Aransas County. And now, therefore, we, Ray Garza, Aransas County Judge, Kelly Cole, Mayor of Town of Fulton, and we have Mayor J-Ro on there, but Mayor Pro Tem Andrew have been here tonight. City of Rockport do hereby recognize the investing in educators as an investment in children, families, and our future. We proclaim the week of April 11th through April 17th, 2026 as the week of young children. I encourage the citizens of Aransas County to express their appreciation by thanking and recognizing the teachers and others who make a difference in the lives of young children in the town of Fulton, city of Rockport, and throughout Aransas County. And witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of Aransas County, town of Fulton, and city of Rockport, Texas to be affixed the date's wrong on there. Don't mean to fix that. Okay, so the 23rd day of March, 2026. And we have people here. Come, picture. Do we have people here to represent them?
Just here to receive this proclamation. Anybody?
Okay.
If
fits with the children's coalition.
There you go. Thank you so much. Okay. Proclamation number 2 is for April 12th through the 18th, 2026 as National Public Safety Telecommunication Week. Whereas emergencies requiring police, fire, and emergency medical services can occur at any time and do not follow a schedule, and whereas every great performance begins with a powerful opening act, and for our emergency services, that opening act is the calm, steady, and commanding voice of our public safety telecommunicators, the roots that nourish and strengthen our entire emergency response system. And whereas these behind-the-scene heroes are the first point of contact in a crisis, gathering vital information with precision, clarity, and urgency to ensure help arrives exactly where and when it's needed. And whereas public safety telecommunications serve as the lifeline, the steady rhythm that keeps police, fire, and EMS teams connected, informed, and prepared as they respond in the field. And whereas the dispatchers at the City of Rockport Communication Center have coordinated countless successful responses contributing to the apprehension of suspects, the suppression of fires, and the saving of lives, all while demonstrating professionalism, compassion, and grace under pressure, worthy of the highest recognition. And whereas in 2026, the City of Rockport will honor these dedicated professionals with a gratitude tree, where each leaf, butterfly, or flower represents a message of gratitude, symbolizing the lives that they have touched or their role as roots of our community safety. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Andrea Hatman, Mayor Pro Tem of the City of Rockport, Texas, do hereby proclaim the week of April 12th through the 18th, 2026 as the Public Safety Telecommunications Week in Rockport, Texas, and encourage all citizens to recognize and celebrate the dedication, talent, and excellence of these remarkable individuals by sharing their stories, our messages of the appreciation and the gratitude tree. I witness hereof unto the hand of the official seal of the City of Rockport this 14th day of April 2026. Do we have anyone up here to hit there? Come on up. I know I personally want to say thank you guys. You guys do a great job. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for all your support.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you for all your support.
Number 3, proclamation proclaiming the month of April as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Whereas Sexual Assault Awareness Month, SAAM, is intended to draw attention to the fact that sexual violence remains a serious public health and human rights issue, impacting individuals of every age, race, gender, and background, is widespread as has far-reaching effects on our community members. And whereas the ACMSI, There For You program serves as a vital pillar of support in our county, providing compassionate advocacy, crisis intervention, and some necessary resources for survivors. And whereas the Sabatos, Rojas, Red Shoes art installation will be on display at the Celebration Plaza from April 15th through the 26th, 2026. Under the professional oversight of the Rockport Center of the Arts, representing the absence of those lost to violence and the collective journey towards justice, we will encourage all citizens to visit the Los Alamos Rojas display to honor these individuals. And whereas the safety of our citizens depends on a coordinated response, highlighted by the SART training, every response matters for emergency responders. A collaborative effort between ACMSI, the Rockport Police Department, and the Purple Door to be held April 23rd, 2026 from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. at the Celebration Plaza. And whereas the Help Me sign and a universal signal for help remain critical tools to empower those in danger to reach out for help. We encourage every citizen to recognize the signal for help, the universal hand signal, palm to camera, thumb tucked, fingers closed over. a vital tool for those in danger to silently seek assistance. And whereas no survivor should walk alone, and our community is fortified by essential resources, including ACMSI, There For You, the Purple Door, and the Well Rockport. And whereas the Help Me sign and the universal signal for help remain critical tools to empower those in danger to reach out for help, we encourage every citizen to recognize the signal for help. The universal hand signal, palm to camera, thumb tucked, fingers closed over. A vital tool for those in danger to silently seek assistance, and now therefore be it resolved that I, Andrew Hatman, Mayor Pro Tem of the City of Rockport, Texas, do hereby proclaim the month of April as Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and encourage all citizens to wear Teal Day on April 7th, 2026 to kick off the month, and Denim Day on April 29th, 2026 to protest harmful myths and victim blaming surrounding sexual violence. In witness whereof, I hereunto set my hand on the official seal of the City of Rockport on this 14th day of April 2026. And this goes to you, Shelley. Archie, we do this? Do they want to?
Sure, if you will.
Would you like to hide yours as well? You can find anything back there if you need to.
Who am I here? Thanks, you guys.
Oh, kind of one-sided.
I don't find it when you're right.
Yes, I do. Thank you. And number 4, recognition of Captain David Gerloff for being awarded the Law Enforcement Command Officer Profession in 2026. I'm going to hand this off to our Chief Anderson today.
Mayor Pro Tem, council members, I'm proud to recognize Captain David Gerloff for a significant professional achievement. Captain Gerloff has completed the Texas Police Chiefs Association's Law Enforcement Command Officer Program and has been designated a Law Enforcement Command Officer Professional, which is called LECOP number 179. And to put that into perspective, there's over 83,000 peace officers, active peace officers in the state of Texas within 2,700 agencies. And he's one of number 179 that has been given this designation. And it's not given a designation, that he actually earned it by taking classes. He was awarded this on March 9th, 2026. The LECOP program is an executive and command level leadership program designed specifically for chiefs, commanders, supervisors, and future leaders in Texas law enforcement. It requires the completion of a series of rigorous training courses focused on individual leadership skills, organizational leadership, and cultural influence, including the Developing Leaders curriculum. Earning this professional designation reflects a substantial investment in leadership development and a demonstrated commitment to leading effectively at every level of the organization. Please join me in congratulating Captain David Gerloff on this well-deserved accomplishment.
Does it come with a big pay rate?
He just wants pictures.
Oh, shoot.
I know that was a good one.
And then next up, we have Vanessa Schroner. We have our 10-year Tuesday presentation.
We have a good one this month. Just one. Veronica Faria has been with us for 15 years. Woo! I'm sorry, I usually find out beforehand, but have you been in comms that entire time? So she's been holding down 911 for 15 years, y'all. We're very proud of you and happy to have you here. Thank you so much. This. Thank you so much. One more. Sorry, one more. We're okay. Got it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, a couple more here. We have City of Rockport was named, City of Rockport is proud to have once again earned the title of Tree City USA for 2025. The Tree City USA program is sponsored by the Arbor Day Foundation in partnership with the U.S. Forest Service and National Association of State Foresters. Thanks to the Rockport Parks and Recreation Department and Tree and Landscape Committee for working to maintain this designation on the 27th year. According to the Arbor Day Foundation, Rockport achieved Tree City USA recognition by meeting the program's 4 requirements: a tree board or department, a tree care ordinance, an annual community forestry budget of at least $2 per capita, and an Arbor Day observance and proclamation. Trees bring shade to our homes and beauty to our neighborhoods, along with numerous economic, social, and environmental benefits. Trees are assets to the community when properly planted and maintained. They help to improve the visual appeal of a neighborhood, reduce home cooling costs, remove air pollutants, and provide wildlife habitat, among many other benefits. And I know Brittany, you here?
Have Jonathan and Mitch, if you guys can get a picture.
Let Christy take the picture and Brittany get in it.
Yes. Brittany, you have
I
to
can't
get
see over the
picture.
flag.
We can move over. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Thank you. And then we have a presentation to the Friends of Aransas National Wildlife Refuge from the Whooping Crane Strut. The city partnered with the Friends of Aransas National Wildlife Refuge, beginning with the 2015 Whooping Crane Strut, to donate $5 each registration to the group to assist with the whooping crane habitat at the refuge. The 37th annual Whooping Crane Strut on March 7, 2026 raised a total of $1,785 from 357 participants. I will present a check to the representative of the Friends. Do you guys have that? Okay, they got it. I attended this event. It's so much fun. I love doing it every year. So you guys did a great job. I'll have to. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for all you do. Thank you. Okay, we got through that. We're gonna go on to the consent agenda. The following items may be acted upon in a single motion. No separate discussion or action on any of these items will be held unless pulled at the request of a member of the city council. Would any of the city council like to pull one? Then I would entertain a motion.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented. I'll second.
Okay, Ward 2,
Aye.
Ward 3,
Aye.
Ward 4, aye, passes. We are not gonna go to ordinances, resolutions, and public hearings. Agenda item number 10. Consider raising the speed limit on Broadway from 25 to 30 miles per hour from the south entrance at BSN 35 to Lakeview Drive. We're gonna have a presentation by staff. Who's doing that? Is that Chief? Okay. Oh, I skipped one.
No, 9 was under consent.
Or was it?
It's all under the consent. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem, Council. So this came about, this is a city-owned street. It's Broadway that goes from behind McDonald's to about the Key Allegro Bridge, Lakeview Drive area. And you know, we lowered the speed limit year and a half, 2 years ago to 25. All of the speed limits that were 30 miles an hour, we lowered down to 25 miles an hour. This particular roadway, since that time, I personally have through informal conversations with citizens in our community, they voiced concerns about that being too low of a speed limit for that long roadway. I know personally I've driven that many times, and it is tedious to get from one point to another when you're going down Broadway at 25 miles an hour, especially when you're the only vehicle on the roadway. So with that being said, we did do a traffic study on Broadway, and that traffic study was done between March 4th and March 12th of this year. And the posted speed limit there, like I said, is 25 miles an hour. Our average speed that we received on that roadway was 30.67 miles an hour. The 85th percentile speed, which I've spoke of before, which is what 85% of the vehicles are traveling, what they think is a safe and prudent speed. 85% of the vehicles were traveling at 31 miles an hour on that particular roadway. There was some maximum speed. There's always going to be some outliers whenever you're doing a speed study. The maximum speed was 58 miles an hour. And there's several different, as you see in your packet. Can you pull that speed study up, Shelley, on page 2 of it? It's after the ordinance. I'm gonna go to the second page of that. Yeah, about right there. That shows the number of vehicles that are recorded, 8,180 vehicles. Vehicles under the speed limit were only 1,331, so vehicles are traveling at 30 miles an hour on that roadway already. And so with that being said, we presented a new ordinance with your consideration to raise that roadway back up to 30 miles an hour.
We're now, thank you, Chief. We're gonna have to hold it. We're gonna hold a public hearing to receive comments for or against. I have to open the public hearing at 5:22. Is there anyone that would like to speak on this matter? No? Okay, I close the public hearing at 5:22. We will consider the approval of the first 2 readings of ordinance amending the City of Rockport Code of Ordinances, Chapter 98, Traffic and Vehicles, Article 3, Speed, Section 98 through 66, and amending Appendix T-33, providing for the validity of said ordinances, repealing all prior ordinances and conflict herewith, and providing an effective date. Chief again.
So the ordinance that we're presenting is raising the speed limit from 25 to 30 miles an hour on Broadway. And be happy to answer any questions that you have.
So, Mayor Pro Tem, at my ward, I have spoken with quite a few residents of the area, and most are in favor of the same, 30 miles an hour. They don't like going down to 25. I've heard, how long it takes to get to HEB. How long it takes to get to the beach, all the things. And I agree, 25, unless you get, I guess 25 was prudent for the golf carts, but there's enough roadway to get around them if it's not too crowded. Because the golf carts aren't going 25. They're not going 30. They're not going 25. They're probably the ones that are going 8 miles an hour, 5 miles an hour. Those on the speed study. So I support this going back up to 30 miles an hour, what it was prior to us.
And if you don't mind, I'll add, if you recall, whenever we did lower that speed limit from 30 to 25 miles an hour, the Key Allegro Canal Neighborhood Association, they took an informal vote and let me know that they wanted to keep Bayshore at 30 miles an hour. And so Bayshore was exempt from the 25 mile an hour speed limit, and they kept theirs at 30 miles an hour through the island.
Any other questions? I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor Pro Tem, I move to approve item 10 as presented.
I'll second for item 10.
Ward 2?
Aye.
Ward 3?
Aye.
Ward 4? Aye. Passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 11, consider the approval of resolution 2026-13R, appointing and reappointing members to the zoning board of adjustment, providing for terms of office and providing for an effective date. Good, Mrs. Goodwin?
last meeting, y'all decided to let Councilmember Brundrett interview all of the candidates we had and make a recommendation, and he has done that. If you'll see in the summary, Ward 2, he's recommended Michael Harm. And then Ward 3, he's recommended Carrie Dietrich. And the at-large position, Tracy Bachman. And then the other ones would be reappointed.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Brenda, you wanna speak a little bit more on it?
Yes, ma'am. So there we had 6 applicants. One, I contacted and he wanted to be removed from the process. They were gonna be traveling too much and some other issues. So I removed him, spoke to the other candidates. One really would just want to be a part of the community, and thought maybe this board may not be the best fit for them. They weren't really involved in the trades, the building construction, real estate, anything like that. So she would just like to be considered for other boards and appointments, anything else we have going on. So the other 3 here that I've put in to receive appointments, one is in the trades, is a builder. The other is our former retired, from the planning department for the city. She knows most of our rules and regs that we deal with. And then the third person, the at-large appointment, is in real estate. So I believe this would be a good fit for the zoning board of adjustments. One of the Ward 2 appointment, I believe, is up in June of 2026. So we may see a vacancy if other applicants want to apply for that. I did let them know that it was going to be a short appointment just due to the fact that it expires. It's a vacancy right now, but it does expire very quickly. So if he doesn't want to come back in June and fill it, or if we have some more applicants, I can take a look at those again at that time. But I believe this will be a good fit, and it should fill needs that we have on that board. They've had some issues getting quorums. So I think this fills the board, and hopefully we can move forward without any other quorum problems.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem, we'll have to amend the resolution to fill in the names.
Okay. Any questions or? Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve item 11 as written when we add the names.
Second.
Go ahead.
Second.
Okay. Ward 2,
Aye.
Ward 3,
Aye.
Ward 4, aye. Passes.
Thank you all.
Sorry. Agenda item 12, we have consideration and possible approval of a development agreement for Passport Shores. Mr. Stronach?
Mayor and council, I did this completely before Amanda was here, so she can take no responsibility for it. But I want to start by saying I did not get the attachments into the agenda on time. That's certainly a deficiency on my behalf. So if you would like to postpone this, I have let the developer know that that's a possibility. But I did want to take an opportunity to talk through it and get you any questions you had answered. So Passport Shores is a subdivision that's going to be coming in on the south side of town, outside the city limits, past Palm Harbor and what's that next one? Yeah. All of those. So on the far end kind of, and they want to be sure that they have water rights and sewer rights reserved basically in the pipes going out to their subdivision. So there's a limited amount of space in each pipe, and they want to reserve their LUEs. And this document basically allows them to reserve those for 10 years at a cost of $500 per LUE. I think it's 180. They are, we are not paying them anything to serve them water and or sewer. We are just holding the space for them to build those 180 homes in the infrastructure we have. You will be seeing a development agreement or a utility agreement on all subdivisions coming in now, so that we do have those reservations going forward, so we don't oversell or overtax our system. That's what this document basically is. If you would like to put it off, I'm perfectly comfortable with doing that. If you're comfortable voting on it, I'm happy to do that as well. Either way, it'll be on the website, with the minutes and tomorrow.
Thank you. Yeah, I had talked to Vanessa beforehand, and I know it just kind of came in, and I just wanted to kind of give council a little, get your guys' thoughts on it and how you guys felt about that.
I've got a question.
Go ahead.
I'll start. And I was reading through the document. Thank you for getting it to us this afternoon. I want to make sure, this is just reserving those, LUEs at this point as they build homes in different sections and the development progresses. That's the point they pay the individual impact fees that we.
That's right. They'll either pay it at plat, final plat, preliminary plat, however we negotiate that out. That's when they'll pay those impact fees. This is just to hold their space in our pipes, basically.
That's what I want to make sure of. This is the first one I've been through. Thank you for letting me ask a few questions. So this is the reservation, for the LUEs. The impact fees will happen as they add homes. And, we went through the impact fee adjustment last year. We know where that is. But this document here that we're considering today, is just on the LUE reservations,
Yeah,
correct?
this is utility service agreement, so they'll have a separate development agreement since they're outside the city limits. So the part of this agreement will be that if the city limits reaches their borders, that they will voluntarily annex.
And you had mentioned that this is going to start being a new standard
Yes.
with these. Okay. So we'll start doing these agreements more often. And
We just need all of this information in writing. These guys have done a great job of managing our system and managing the capacities of our system. But we're not all gonna be here forever. And so having some documentation of who owns what, who has the right to what, and as pipes start filling up, people are gonna start fighting for space in them. Because the next guy that comes in, he has to build a new pipe. And that's gonna cost a lot of money, and he needs to be aware of that. And we need to be aware that we have not oversold what our capacity is. So getting the documentation, managing the contracts and the documents is just gonna be very important going forward. So if he doesn't build these houses, 180 houses in 10 years, he loses his reservation and he doesn't get his money back.
I think we're coming tonight. Do you, as council, feel comfortable making an action on this, or we can hold it off until the next meeting?
That was the only question, excuse me, that was the only question I had was the impact fee and LUE reservation, and thank you for clarifying that. I know you've spent a lot of time on this and what have you. That was the only question I had. I don't know that I'd have a problem moving forward, at least from Ward 2's perspective.
So Art's office has reviewed it. Do you have any reason for it to not be, being that it wasn't posted in the packet, is there any reason that there's, okay.
Sorry. That was,
The flight attendant's coming on.
Yeah.
can you hear me?
Seatbelts?
Yeah.
Turbulence coming?
The only comments I have, thank you,
Hold on.
I reviewed the document, and as already been stated, that this is just for the LUEs, it's not the full development agreement, not final plats, not preliminary plats, nothing like that. This is just for them to reserve the LUEs, and they're getting some from another development that.
They purchased them from another
For
development.
another development.
Yeah.
So in my mind, there's nothing in here that's, I don't have a transparency issue with us seeing it just now, versus had it been in the packet.
It won't be the
Being,
norm.
being
to
being
not
that
be
what
back.
it is what it is. So I have no problem moving forward with it, but, Chair, if you want, if you.
I'll entertain a motion. If
Hold
you're-
on, I think Art had something to add.
No, I was just, the only thing I was gonna add was your, rate structure currently doesn't have a provision for capacity reservation fees, which are very common in other utilities around the state. This is what, this was a manner in which we could agree on, capacity reservation. and the developer's willing to pay for them at this point.
So that's something we would wanna include in our rate structure going forward as well.
Certainly.
We don't have it, but we said if you want it for 10 years, you need to pay for it. We typically do 5 or 7. He wanted a little longer, so this was, like he said, the mechanism to do that.
One more question. I want to make sure, since the city is holding these rights and what have you, I want to make sure, you'd mentioned briefly that if, when they do start building and it's, people are living there, that they will be annexed into the city and what have you, or? how-
No, when and if the city limits ever reach the border of the subdivision as a whole will annex into the city limits.
Okay. And that's set in stone now that, 10 years from now, that happens and that trigger, the residents can't say, hey, we don't want to be into the city or something like that.
You know what, I actually don't remember if we put this in this agreement, but it'll be in the development agreement because it's in all of our development agreements going forward, that when you, go ahead, when the city limits reaches you, you will annex in.
That's normally part of what's called a strategic partnership agreement, which is part of a development agreement, and that normally does come later. This agreement here is strictly just a capacity reservation agreement.
Okay, as long as they're in full understanding that we expect, if that border reaches there, that they would become part of the city of Rockport.
This is document 1 of a long series of paperwork you will see on this. They don't wanna commit to their subdivision until they know that they can be served water and sewer. So. And they don't get any privileges for their water. They fall under the same restrictions that everybody else falls under when they start putting those meters in the ground. They're wherever we are. So if we have, stage 1 emergency, they're under stage 1. If they're in 3, whatever it is, they fall under the same capacity when that meter goes in the ground.
I just want to confirm, I do believe this is in the city.
Is it in the
So,
city?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, then I'm wrong.
And there is an engineering study on this. So it's not, and it's the only 180 left on the line.
Right.
On that line.
So there's some concessions on what's going on here. That's why they want to reserve it.
Right. So I apologize. I guess it is. I was thinking it was further out, but
It's just down towards 188.
Yeah, it's towards the no man's land.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
but
I apologize.
And with it not being there, it's just a word right now, so we
Right.
do know where it's at, so.
Tortuga Club, Base of Rockport, and then
You're right.
between that
Yes.
and, Bahia Bay,
You're right. I apologize for that.
Palm Harbor.
But he's right. This is literally the last 180 homes we can put on that line. So when I say the next guy that comes in to build in there has to build a new line, he has to build a new line. So there's value in reserving these LUEs.
All being said, Mayor Pro Tem, will move to approve item 12 as presented.
And I'll second.
Ward 2,
Aye.
Ward 3,
Aye.
Ward 4, aye. Passes. Other action items and updates. We're gonna have an update to council on water rate subsidy, and this will be Robbie.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Council. This is a follow-up from the 324 council meeting where there were some questions, follow-up questions about using the gas sale and the folding of the gas fund into the general fund, and if we could use that either to offset the utility fund or offset tax rates, and which would be better. So that's where we're coming back on this. The first one we were gonna be looking at is for the utility rates. And so, let's see, in the gas system, there were some questions in there that we went back to Dan Jackson. There were some questions about, in his rate model, we were asking him, what are you showing as the monthly loss of the utility system before any rate hike? What's going on per month basis? And he said, right now, he said in 2026, we're seeing a monthly loss of about $50,000. And that's before anything related to debt payments, which would make it even higher. So that's what is forecast. Without any adjustments, that loss is expected to increase to 150,000 loss per month in FY 2027. So it would just get larger and larger and larger. He's basically saying it's just going to get progressively larger if we don't do anything immediately. That's what he was saying. So then there was the question regarding, well, what if we push out the tax rate increase? What if because we were looking at 6% immediately. Water rate, sorry, thank you. What if we push the water rate out? If we don't do it and we wait and just wait until October, then what's that going to do? Well, basically it would make the increase even higher. Because it is a cost recovery system. All those costs just accumulate, and so you just have to go up higher on your rate to offset them. So it's not like there's some sort of outlet or steam release or something else. They're contained in there. So that's why it's called a cost recovery studies. So really, that percentage increase would just get larger and larger and larger. Anything that we push off, it just causes the percentage increase to get larger and larger and larger. Any monies that we put in, any additions that we put in for fund balance, if we were to put some of those gas system monies in there, all it would do would just chew up fund balance, and your percentage, and it would get worse and worse and worse. And again, one of the main things that we're looking at doing with implementing this is splitting out what are the cost pass-throughs, the water purchase pass-throughs coming from City of Corpus, San Pat, versus what are ours, because we know that that's going to be significant going forward, as was talked about at the 324 council meeting. So basically, bottom line is that we wouldn't want to use, from an operational standpoint, we wouldn't want to be using fund balance to offset operational losses, unless we had a predefined exit strategy. Usually use operational monies for like one-time costs and stuff of that nature. I can't speak. So we really want to be using it for there, and I'll talk about that a little bit when we get to the tax rate offset. Also, I know that there has been some questions about perceived profits in the financial statements. What this is considering, what this rate study is considering that's different from the previous rate studies, is that we were using tax notes in the previous studies. This updated rate study is using revenue bonds. And when you're doing revenue bonds, there is no tax support. So these bonds, revenue bonds, stand on their own. The bondholders know that they're only looking to the utility to pay that debt back. So there was covenants associated with revenue bonds, usually an additional, they wanted to see additional revenues coming in to not only to cover debt service, but have maybe another 20% coverage or another 1.2 or 1.3 times coverage to make sure that you do have enough money in that in order so that they can get paid. Otherwise, you're going to be paying more for interest. And so we want to make sure that we are showing some sort of profit in our utility fund, because we don't want to be, we want to be able to issue debt to support what we're doing on the utility side for various purposes. Any questions on that, or was it plain?
So showing a loss, $50,000 or up to $150,000 loss per month would not look good to the bond.
It would not look good if we continue.
If we went that route to try.
If we continue down this path. And that is in his model, as he's modeling going out. What we've been looking at, certainly from the financial statement standpoint, if you just take 2025, that's 9 months where you're just starting to do your first increases from sand, pat, mud, which was in January of 2025. And you're just getting into the first 9 months of where we're just getting into the reduced water usage of the 20 to 25%. So we were just stepping into that. And now to 2026, we're now in another rate increase that we haven't passed through, and continuing with water conservation up to and including that we're looking at now going into, what is it, stage 4 or whatever, where we're gonna have possible curtailments. I know we can't say restrictions, but it's what it is. So it would get any worse. So we want to keep the utility looking in a favorable light, and not in a favorable light, but looking that it's standing on its own is what I'm trying to say, and not that it's being subsidized.
I would just, I know it's not an action item, but I feel like our water rate is, the bullseye, the target's moving with,
Yes.
with what we have going on across the bay and who we get our water supply from. So everything, anytime we have an update, I feel like that rate's gonna have to be adjusted just because of what's happening.
Yes.
Unfortunately. That being said, the options that were presented last time, that pass-through fee is really the only way that I see that we could do this without having to come back to this all the time.
Agreed.
Monthly, if not, every council meeting, hey, the rates changed because of
Absolutely.
where we're at. And I hate being in this position. I mean, it's not fair, but it's where we're at.
It's where we're at. Agreed. Agreed.
So I agree, and I sat down and kind of had the conversation and just to understand it a little bit more before council today, and I think it comes down to it, to me, I think we do have, and I don't know if we're gonna discuss that tonight, but I think we have a good option, hopefully, of figuring out our own water here. But with that being said, that's still gonna take a couple years down the road, and we still gonna have to get water from Corpus and we know that their rates are gonna significantly go up in October. For us to, it's just, we don't, even say you had the $4 million, I just don't think that we can't do that for years. It's not gonna control that influx that we're gonna have to pay. I mean, I would like, for me personally, I would like to see, and again, I know it's not an action item, I could see like the 3% and then the 7.5%, only because I think in October, we're gonna have better answers where we're at, and when we have to do that increase, at least we have a solution of what we're trying to do, because right now we don't. So for me to do the full 6.5%, let's just wait and see where we're at in October, and then we can kind of go from there, and then we can at least explain why we're gonna have to do that higher rate again. Because it's gonna be a couple years, regardless. You do a plant, they do a plant, we get water from there. All these things are gonna take years to build. So we're still gonna have to pay this extra funds. So I would be more comfortable just keeping it that way until, again, we have more concrete information of where we're gonna get our water, what our plan is. And I think we have a good solution. I think hopefully it works out, but I think we have to, a little bit more information, a little bit more concrete, and then go from there, is what I would feel more comfortable with.
So go forward a slide, I think what Councilmember Hatman is talking about is one of the options that Dan proposed is to do a 3% right away and then do a 7.5% increase in October, 2026, 2027, 2028, a 7.5% increase each of those Octobers. I think what Councilmember Hatman, and you can tell me if I'm putting words in your mouth, is saying is, let's do the 3% right now. Let's make it as painless as possible. And in that time between now and October, we're gonna have a lot of changes. And so maybe there's, you run the risk that it could be higher, but you also run the risk that you're working more towards solutions, I think is the point. Mm-hmm. So, I'm not trying to put words in her mouth. I'm not trying to advocate for any position. I'm just trying to clarify for our direction that that's what you're saying.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Robbie, not holding you, I don't know how to ask this without it being twisted. With 3%, would we still be operating in a deficit until October?
According to Dan, Yes. Because it would be, because Dan had 6%, if I remember correctly, right, going off right away, so we'd be doing 3% and then the 7.5, and then the 7.5.
So
7.5%.
effectively, you could say we're cutting the deficit in half. If we need
Yes.
6% and we only go 3, so if we're running in a $50,000 a month deficit, we're cutting it down to 25.
And then he's going higher for the years following instead of
Right,
the 6%.
instead of the 6%.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, I see where it says that your revenue loss over 5 years would be 0. My only concern with the 3, I agree, that a little bit's better than a whole lot right now. My only concern would be what that looks like if we're gonna try to do revenue bonds for something in the very near future. I guess we can maybe have that discussion.
So I want to point out, I'm sorry, 2 things that Dan said on this that I think we need to reiterate. When the new rates he proposed cutting our capital down from
50 to 25.
50 million down to 24, I believe, and drawing down our fund balance some to subsidize that. So remember whereby we were building that fund balance up for capital projects at some future date. We are gonna draw it down some, and we are gonna put our capital capacity at half. So the new rate includes those 2 changes. Don't lose sight of that, because we're not still gonna have this big pot that we're building up for capital. We've shrunk that down.
And if I may, and the pass-through. That's the real big piece that would be making this automatic and be capturing those big costs as they're coming through automatically, would be that cost pass-through, getting that.
I don't see how we can do it without doing the pass-through, just for the sheer reason of the uncertainty that we're in. That was where my question is coming, where are we on the pass-through decision and
We're looking for direction from y'all, and what I'll throw out as an option, and you guys can, whatever. We do 3% and a pass-through at the next meeting. Knowing that we are looking at 7.5% in October, barring anything changing.
I just think in the next 6 months, there's gonna be a lot more information that's gonna come out and that we're gonna have, and just to,
So we have a very good idea of what rate Corpus is going to, and that's gonna be significant. If it's gonna be in the next 6 months, I don't know, but
Yeah.
they are looking at a significant increase. We can't continue to eat their increase. We just can't do it. So if you don't do anything else, we need you to adopt the pass-through.
yeah. And I can feel comfortable with the 3%. Again, for me to explain it to the citizens, I wanna be, hey, we have to do the 3%, cause right now we're going in a deficit. But for me to explain, here, I'm gonna charge you 6.5%, but I still have no answers for you. In October, if I can give you answers, and yes, we'll still have to charge you more again, like you said, water's not cheap anymore. It's gonna be expensive. There's nothing we can do about it. It's just where we're at right now. At least we'll have an answer to explain, hey, this is our plan. In a couple years, we're gonna have this and that done, and we'll have a, better way of handling the situation, and we'll be able to, it's not promising anything, but at least answers is what I think people would want if they're gonna have to start paying such a large amount of percentage to go again.
Well, I think it's 2 separate conversations that are virtually talking about the same subject, but different perspectives. We've got to do something pretty quickly on this here to cover this particular shortfall and to slow down the subsidizing we've been doing. And the conversation, when you have that uncomfortable conversation with the ratepayers out there and what have you, that they're going to see an increase. They are going to see a substantial increase no matter what we do up here. But then the second conversation is, and oh, by the way, we have a significant plan that we're all working on. It may take a year or 2 to get totally implemented. But again, I think they're separate conversations. Neither one of them are very pleasant, but the alternative is much less pleasant for sure. And I think their citizens can rest assured that, great argument to try to keep this at 3% in the pass-through wherever we end up with that. And they see that we're fighting for them. But they also can see that we've got a long-term plan. And that's coming together very rapidly as well. So, just a couple comments. I like the 3% with the pass-through, maybe the next council meeting, can I see it up to 5%, like maybe a 3 and a 4 and a 5? Just so I can
What do you
see
wanna
what that
see?
does to that.
What the
subsidizing
October
amounts.
rate would be,
Uh,
or what the subsidy
What,
goes
what,
down?
I'm more worried about
Yeah.
what we're subsidizing monthly right now through October. So if we did a 3% in April or a 5% in April, what that may look like, anywhere from 3 to 5%. Would that be possible to do by next council meeting?
What we'd be doing, if we do 3% now, what would be the
So-
subsidy?
Like
in
we
the
did a
total?
3% now, a 4% now, or a 5% now.
Simple.
Give me those three options plus pass through.
Simple chart.
Yeah,
3% subsidy, October rate, 4% subsidy, October rate, 5% subsidy, October rate.
yes, ma'am.
3-column chart.
The October rate of the 7.5%.
Well,
Leave
no,
it.
if you
Whatever
go
that
4%,
October may come down or may,
Like if we did 4% instead of 3%, how much would that rate be in October? With that
Oh,
change?
okay,
hey, she's got it.
okay, good. Good.
and I like the 3%, but I don't want it to keep subsidizing if,
You can't do it forever.
yes.
Right.
We can't live out of the savings account forever.
We've been doing it for a while.
But 5% may not be palatable to the council either. That may be too much right now. Maybe we do a 3 and the 7 out. But if you can just show me those numbers a little bit, maybe, sure, and we can,
So this is April.
yes, ma'am.
What we're gonna have is, we'll have that chart for you, and we will have a choose your own adventure action item on the next one, if that's okay, because we're gonna need an action item. If we put it to May, we're
We're kicking
50,000 more in the hole, so, and I will take as much time as you need, but I am gonna try to put it as a votable action item on the next agenda. If that's not a problem with you guys, because we've been kicking it around for several months now. So,
We do have a meeting on the 28th, correct?
we have a budget meeting on the 28th, but we have a council meeting on the 26th.
Council meeting 28th, planning meeting 29th.
Totally wrong, there you go,
I was gonna say you're back.
I am backwards.
So we can address this formally in April if we choose to.
Yes,
Yeah,
at your
I
next
think
council meeting.
at least I'd be ready to look at that
Okay.
right away.
If you have questions between now and then, reach out and we'll try to get answers, pushed out as quickly as we get questions. Not a problem. Okay.
And to let you know, we should know more in October for sure, because Corpus has been reaching out, getting information from us about what restrictions are gonna be put in place. They're wanting to know more about who we're serving and what size pipes and all that other stuff. So they're putting together a plan, so we will know more.
Separate,
all over again.
yes, maybe a separate question, but if we're expecting curtailment, is that what that's about? Is that what he's talking about is?
So at this point, the last presentation I saw from Corpus, and I'm gonna caveat this with it changes daily, we all know, is that if all of their plans fall through or nothing that they're working on comes through, we may have curtailments as early as next month. Now, they have 4 projects in the works, and every step forward that each project takes, it pushes off curtailments. If they get to project number 5, there's nothing. We live in a stage 3 for a long time now, but, it is a tricky issue to boil down when we're dependent on another political body.
I'm not sure I'm entirely familiar with what curtailment could mean. If it's potentially coming, could you get us a copy for everyone here of what could we face? It's gotta be written down somewhere,
So
right?
that, no,
Corpus is building it.
Corpus is building that now.
Okay, all right, okay.
It doesn't exist yet.
Okay, great.
So.
They
I don't know if I wanna see it written down or not, but, if it's looming that much, we need to have as much notice as possible. I know they're not giving you any, so.
It's just a side note, Peter Zanoni and Nick Winkleman have offered to come and do a town hall for us. maybe we wanna take them up on that offer.
Chief, can you have enough people here for that?
Okay, I think we have a direction, so,
You got it, you'll have it.
thank you. You can just stay up there, Robbie.
Do we need to even do the tax thing? Or
So
just-
the next item is if we take the some or all of the $4 million and put it into the water rate, what does that do? And so what I will tell you in the short,
Or the tax, I'm sorry,
I'm sorry.
to offset tax.
Oh, yeah, then
I'm so
you got,
sorry.
yes, you did, sorry.
Oh, no,
I thought you were putting in the water.
no, yeah, we just talked about the water, basically, that's not a good idea. The better idea would be to use it to try to offset the INS tax rate. And basically, if we drop that in to try to, if we use the $4.1 million from the gas fund and use that to try to offset what we could borrow for fixed assets, it comes out to about 2.6 to 2.7 cents, roughly, is what we could possibly save if we use that instead of went out and borrowed it.
That's significant.
Yeah.
So does that keep our reserve at 180 days
Sorry.
and then?
Keeps our reserves at 200.
204, 205?
Yeah, it's right in there. Yes, 20. Yeah, it's in that
Okay, it's okay.
presentation.
203, sorry, I missed it.
Yeah, yeah, 203, yes, sir.
And then we would still be able to do our B and E. And we need to reimburse the $500,000 that we pulled out for the,
Fire station?
nope,
No,
for the salary study.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
And that would give us 1 million in parks and allow us to phase in the,
The cops grant.
possibly, yeah, if we planned, if we wanted to go there, the 2 million does include V&E, 1.4 million is V&E replacement, the other 600,000 is for the cop cars.
so you could reduce the tax by 2% and we still do 2 cents. I'm flipping back and forth.
My understanding is this covers, if we use that, it could reduce our tax rate by, it covers about 2.5 cents in the tax rate.
About, yes, if we could use that to offset some borrowings for fixed, for one-time costs, that's what I'm trying to say.
I wanna be very careful because I think you're talking about two different things. I think you're saying reduce our existing rate,
No,
And I
I
think
said
he's-
reduce, and I didn't, that's
Additional
the wrong word.
and he's saying we're not gonna borrow it this year to include it on the rate.
Correct, so it just means that we're able to cover that 2.5 cents with this money and not have to increase tax.
Right, we wouldn't have to borrow additional monies, because we could use these monies to help, instead of going out and borrowing additional monies. And we could use them for potentially these purposes,
Yes.
could.
Not reduce.
Not reduce,
Yeah.
when I said that earlier, that's the wrong word.
And so the potential of approximately 2.6 cents, and somebody remind me, the increase last year was 4 point
It's like
something,
4.2.
4.2. I'm just getting it in my head.
Cents.
Cents,
Yeah, don't.
okay. So there, we could potentially save 2.6 cents here, and last year we had a total increase of 4.2 cents, something like that.
I don't.
That sounds right.
No.
No. Okay,
I think we're commingling it.
we are
I think what-
commingling it,
yes.
and that's what I'm saying, we need to be very careful here. We are not saying we're gonna reduce your tax rate by 2 cents and do all of these things. We're gonna say we're gonna do all of these things and not increase you 2%.
Yes, 2 cents.
2 cents, I'm so sorry, so we can still he's putting the overages from the gas sale to projects. Not on property tax rate, not general operations, nothing like that. We still have to get our valuations from the tax assessor, which I think we got today.
Today, yes, ma'am.
To see where we're gonna fall on our general operations. If we put it towards that, we're doing what we did on the water rate, which is making a hole that we have to make up then next year.
Yes.
So he's saying we're gonna do these kind of, not, we're gonna reduce it, we're gonna not increase it.
Robbie, on the April 29th, that's the 29th, right, the budget one? On the 29th, do you think you can give us like a preliminary rate of, you know, you have that one sheet with the no new, the voters?
Our standard graph.
Or
Like
same,
just-
that yellow one
Yeah.
that's super, super rough.
Yep.
Something that we can start looking at.
We
so
can kind of start looking at.
Yeah,
I think we can piece something together. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
just so we can kind of have a better idea.
If
Because
you're-
right now you're talking about numbers, and it gets confusing not having it in front of you. So like we
Yes.
can have that in front of us during the budget meeting and then kind of go over a little bit more detail of it, and then we can kind of explain it to ourselves and to everyone else better.
And tonight, this is a no harm, no foul.
Yeah,
That money's just sitting there, we don't have to do anything, we're not looking at adopting tax rates.
Yeah.
This is just to get information in front of you that you guys asked for at the last meeting.
He did say super rough, so.
Super.
And y'all know that, the
Yeah.
tax
Super.
rate
Bow wow world.
changes
Yes.
until the day
Until
you
the,
sign
until
the
the day we
ordinance.
adopt it.
just an idea. That would be, you know, something that we can have in front of us so we can
Yes.
not say things out of turn and
And-
it comes
and
back to us,
Hats,
so.
hats off to Ray for getting it out so early,
Yeah.
as early as he did. It's like 2 weeks early.
Yeah.
Usually it's 4:30, so hats off
The-
to Ray.
One question, I don't wanna throw another variable out there. Are there any of our bonds that are, callable that we could pay off with this money? Is there any reason that we would look at that? Any kind of savings?
Going off of talking to our financial advisor, he was saying that our interest rates are so low on what we have outstanding that he did not recommend that last time we looked at that.
Okay.
Yes. That's a fair question, yes, but yeah, he said that the rates were just so.
I mean, if we paid something off to go, just to turn around and go borrow it again to do these projects,
Right.
Yes, sir.
is there a reason to do that? And it sounds like the answer is no.
Yeah, he had counseled against that.
Okay.
We
Yeah.
do have a small amount of debt that's falling off this year, just from the gas sale. The debt was paid, so we won't have that in our debt service schedule, but it's
But we
not a
haven't-
lot.
Yes, but I think, is it next, I know we have another big chunk coming on. There's that big one that's.
27, 28, 29, I thought there was 3 consecutive years of pretty good.
There's a big,
Yeah.
there's a big plateau and then a huge drop, so we'll have the mountain of debt as well, pretty soon in our budget workshops, but
Yes.
this is just for you guys to start chewing on.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
City managers update.
You know, I am going to forego an update because I think we have a long executive session and I think everybody's pretty well versed in what we're doing right now, so
Okay,
if that's all right with y'all.
sure. City council, reports. Ward 2, have anything?
No, I think, speaking with the folks out there in Ward 2, we're doing okay. Again, I'll repeat what I do quite often. Thank you to the divisions that when we need something, they reach out and take care of it and get it done. Just lots of positive comments from residents in Ward 2, just dealing with our different divisions and departments. Thank you.
Ward 3?
I would just say, to the entire city, not just the Ward 3, that we are working very hard and doing our due diligence on what we're doing for water. We're not trying to operate in a vacuum, and we'll hopefully have some answers very soon. I've learned more about water in 6 months than I ever thought I would, so.
Right. Yes, I just second that. We are working very hard. We know it's it's number one and most important to the city of Rockport right now. So just make sure that, you know, we're out there doing what we need to be doing, and it will come up here shortly, some options. I don't think I have anything else, so we are gonna go. The city council now will recess its open meeting and reconvenes an executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.071, consultation with attorney, Texas Government Code 551.072, real property, Texas Government Code 551.074, personal matters, Texas Government Code 551.076, security, Texas Government Code 551.087, economic development negotiations, Texas Government 551.089, IT security. The city Council will consider the following items in executive session. The council may also consider any other matter posted on the agenda if there are issues that require consideration in executive session. And the council announces that the item will be considered during executive session. There'll be discussion to deliberate the appointee's annual performance evaluation process and duties. City manager, I'm no longer able to speak tonight, municipal judge, and city secretary. And then we have discussed the purchase, exchange, lease, condemnation of value of real property in the vicinity of Pearl Street. We are now in executive session at 6:10. Oh, I missed one. Discussion of impending water issues and related effects and actions. Now we're in executive session. So much talking.